Welcome back to RunThrough TV. Ben Shepherd here, and let's meet today's guest.
My name's John Clark. In terms of what brings us to today, I've recently completed the world first of a marathon a day in all of the English counties on consecutive days. So that was 48 marathons in 48 days in the 48 counties of England. Prior to that, I was a strongman and powerlifter competitor, and kind of gone through that evolution of being a non-runner to, I'd say, a runner, but I still don't really consider myself a runner.
I think you'll agree, an absolutely brilliant idea, but where did it even come from?
So I'd done some endurance-based stuff previously for charity, but it was all static machine-based. So a couple of years ago, I broke the 24-hour Ski Erg world record, and then last year broke the 100,000 meter Ski Erg world record. So it was kind of like, there's nothing left to break record-wise on the Ski Erg, and also I'm getting bored of the Ski Erg, as is everyone else watching me on it. So let's do something different. And I decided that I want to try and complete an Ironman, and then obviously COVID decided to get in the way of any races happening. So it was looking for a new challenge, something to test myself with, and whilst being really honest, having a beer with some of the boys, we came up with the idea of a marathon a day in every county of England. And then fast forward a little bit, so I became a trustee of a charity that enables grant applications to support children living in food poverty. And one of the aims of that charity is to raise awareness as well as raise funding. So it was a combination of the two things, really, me seeking a challenge, and also what better way of raising awareness than taking the Mars for Meals initiative on a roadshow around the country, as the whole concept of it is to try and get people to run to raise funding for the initiative. So it was the perfect storm of a drunken night, stupidity, me looking for a challenge, all at the same time whilst trying to make a difference to those in need.
Sounds like the perfect recipe for a challenge. And with a challenge so big, 48 marathons, 48 counties, 48 days, it must be hard to break up and kind of comprehend the amount of distance you've still got to go. So how did John go about doing that throughout the challenge?
For some reason, myself and my coach came up with the idea that Marathon 34 was the one that we needed to get to kind of see us over the line and see us home, so to speak. So yeah, 34 was the first milestone that I saw, really. But I did, in terms of breaking it down, I just did what I recommend all of the clients that I work with do, which is segment it down into smaller chunks. I said even from day one, like if you look at the road ahead, it's too easy to get overwhelmed, whether that's weight loss, running 48 marathons, or even just running a marathon. If you break it down into smaller, more achievable chunks and then just focus on the present chunk that you're attacking. So the way that we actually set the marathons up were 10.5 kilometer loops times 4. So it was just, today I've got to run 4 10 and a bit kilometers, and then just focused on that one 10 and a bit K loop at that given time. It was just too easy to get overwhelmed with how many miles and kilometers are ahead if I started looking at the overall. And ironically, it was other people that were telling me, saying, oh, you've passed the 1,000-mile mark and things like that I hadn't even contemplated, because I was just so in that mindset of just focus on the one thing that I'm doing at that given time. Because I think as soon as you start looking ahead as well, you kind of switch off, and that's where injuries and you let yourself down with your personal admin, looking after your feet, looking after your recovery. And so yeah, one thing at a time, one step at a time, one 10K at a time. And one 10K becomes 48 marathons, becomes job done.
Let's talk about job done then. You heard John talk about mini goals leading up to that final end goal. How did it feel though when he managed to put all of those mini goals together and get to that end point?
Being really honest, it was actually quite a bit of an empty feeling, the last one. I've competed enough in different sports and done enough of different things to know that it's never really the end point that you celebrate, it's the journey of getting there. And as I say, like number 34 to me was almost the one that I almost like celebrated and felt better hitting 34 than I did hitting 48. But yeah, no, ultimately, because we had so many people running with me throughout the journey, I mean, I think we had over 1,000 in the end that ran sections of the days with me, and it was just great to share that kind of final day. It was almost a celebration of everyone rather than just my achievement of running the 48, because ultimately it was a team effort and a group effort, and the amount of people that came and ran with me and supported me and kept me moving on the days where I absolutely didn't want to run.
Sharing those experiences with others is so important, and they're memories that John will hold dear for a very, very long time, I'm sure. It was a monumental effort, 48 marathons in 48 days in 48 counties. What changes did John see to his body throughout that time?
I went in with the idea of actually coming into the event a little bit heavier than I'd expect to be. The idea being that there would be muscle and body fat loss over the course of the challenge. I mean, it was burning 7,000 plus calories a day. And for the most part, I didn't have an appetite. So I was down in pints of chocolate milk just to try and get calories in. But yeah, at the end of it, I'd lost 12 kilos, which according to our body composition scanner at my gym was roughly 50-50 in terms of muscle and body fat. So yeah, my clothes all suddenly became a lot looser, my quad to calf ratio became appalling, and my arms turned to mere noodles of their former self. So yeah, there was quite a significant physiological change, but in terms of injuries, the first 10 days was kind of running through agony, like pain was just moving around the body from Achilles to patellar tendonitis to my quads feeling like they had tears and issues and strains, and it was just one thing after another. But then by about week two, end of week 2, the body just kind of accepted it, for want of a better description. And then I had a good probably 2-3 weeks of running without too much pain other than just general soreness. And then as we got towards the end of it, it decided to bite back again and everything started hurting. So yeah, it was highs and lows, but I kind of got into it with the mindset that no matter what, if I could still take a step forward, I was going to keep moving forward. Whereas otherwise, I think it would have been too easy to let those pains in your head become more than they were and give yourself a reason to stop.
Honestly, I could chat to John for hours. He's an absolute legend. We had a bit more of a conversation when I stopped recording as well. What a man. I've put his social media and his charity information in the description of this episode of Runner Stories. Do go and check that out if you get a little bit of time. I'll be back very soon with another Runner Story. And if you want to see anybody, if you've got anybody in mind that you'd like to see on this channel in the near future, do pop them in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe and give this video a like as well. I'll catch you again in a bit.